Hello everyone, welcome to Real English Online. My name's Liam, and today we've got a new series for you here. And in this series, this is a proficiency level series, so this vocabulary is suitable for people doing the proficiency exams, the CPE and the Michigan ECPE. Vocabulary is a little bit difficult, so if you are an intermediate learner, you might be better watching one of the other vocabulary videos, but feel free to have a shot at it. So in this video, we're going to be looking at all the different types of cuts. So let's go for it. Okay, so our first word, to slice, to stab, to carve, to hack. Ooh, that's a violent way of cutting that one. To chop, very common, especially if you watch your cooking programs. And to dissect. And to make an incision. So, let's have a look at the first one. To slice. Okay, so if you're slicing something, you're using a knife to make a very thin cut. So you would slice cheese, slice ham, anything like this. Okay, so as you can see here, to cut something very thinly. And my example, I need to cut some slices of cheese for my sandwiches. Or if you go to the delicatessen or the supermarket and you don't want to cut your own cheese, you can ask them and they put it in a machine, a special slicing machine. So it saves you a lot of time and effort doing it this way. And there we are. And this is a little handheld thing that you can pull across the cheese and it slices the cheese for you. Very handy little kitchen utensil that. To stab. Now if you watch your murder mysteries or your CSIs, you've probably seen this. To stab something or someone is when you kind of stick a knife into it violently, yeah? So to stick an object into something, like even if you've got a microwave dinner, you stab the plastic a couple of times and then you put it into the microwave. And the example I've got, the murderer stabbed his victim 10 times with a kitchen knife. Nice and cheerful. I hate it when my friends stab me in the back. Now, this isn't literal, this is metaphorical, and this basically means that they deceive you or lie to you or trick you on purpose. So they're not literally stabbing you in the back with a knife. And there you can see, ouch, that looks kind of painful. Someone's been stabbed in the back with a ginormous fork. Lovely jubbly. Something you're using something sharp or perhaps a knife to maybe carve your name into a tree. There are carpenters who actually are highly skilled at carving things into wood. Also at Christmas you'll use a big knife to carve the turkey or the ham. So it's to cut into something. At Christmas my grandfather always carves the turkey. And this is true, I remember this ever since I was a little boy. And my girlfriend and I carved our initials into the tree in the local park. Aww, how romantic. And check out, okay, we didn't, well, that's not exactly initials. That's like someone carving faces into a tree trunk, but it's pretty badass either way. Work of art. To hack. Now if you're hacking at something, you are swinging wildly with a knife, and the best way I can think of describing this, if you've ever seen any documentaries or films where people are in the jungle and they have a machete and they are hacking their way through the jungle, cutting down the vegetation as they go. So to cut wildly, I would say, usually with a big knife. He used a knife to hack the chicken's head off. Then it started running for its life. Okay, that's a bit of a bloodthirsty example, but apparently it's true. The explorers hacked their way through the jungle with their machetes. And there we go. So at the top here you'll see a huge machete, and that can do a lot of damage if you're swinging it about the place. To chop. Now this is a very common word for cutting, especially in the kitchen. You chop up chicken, chop cheese, chop onion, you chop anything, and usually if you're chopping something you are just cutting it into pieces or small pieces, and you'll see this in recipes. It's a very common word for cutting. The butcher chopped the chicken into 4 pieces, and you need to chop the onion into really small pieces to cook this recipe successfully. And there you go, you can see a beautiful little piece of chicken that's been nicely diced or chopped up. To dissect. Now dissection is when you're cutting something with a very sharp knife, usually a scalpel, and it's used in science a lot. I remember when I was in biology class they made us dissect a pig's eyeball, and that was absolutely disgusting. But yes, it's when you're cutting into something to have a look inside. So there you are, to cut to pieces precisely. They made us dissect a pig's eyes, pig's eyeball it should be, in biology. It was totally disgusting, and that's a true example. That during an autopsy they dissect the body. Oh, not such a nice one. And there you can see in the top there, that poor frog is literally being dissected. Lovely. Okay, so our final word is to make an incision. And if you're making an incision, you're making a very precise cut with something extremely sharp. So this is the kind of cut that perhaps a surgeon would make if you were having an operation. So the surgeon made an incision just above the knee, perhaps with a scalpel. Or, as I've said here, when you have an operation, the doctors make an incision to gain entry into the body. Now, as for the picture, I didn't go for a gruesome picture with lots of blood and gore. Instead, I decided to use this. Tailors will also use scalpels and sharp knives to make incisions into clothes. Okay guys, so thank you very much for watching the video. Part 2 will be along shortly. Remember to subscribe, and once again, thank you. Bye.